Good afternoon, everyone. It is I, Gina White with the House of White, coming to you once again from my bedroom to share with you some super fun things that I have in my collection and an item that I recently purchased at the Antique World Mall in Boise from my friend Patty. Her booth, it's called Patty's Vintage Garden, and I'll show you this in a bit. I'm really excited to show this to you. But first I want to go through and show you the embroidery flosses that I have in the different forms that they came in the late Victorian period, so 1890s up to the 1920s and 30s. So when we get embroidery floss or crewel work floss or whatever nowadays, it comes looking like this. It's got the paper bands at two ends, like this. And these are older than the barcode days. So I don't know when we started using barcodes. I don't know how old these are, but they are newer than these over here. But I wanted to use these to show you the difference in what we get now and what was back then. And so here are some things that I've laid out for you from the Royal Society thread making company. And then we have Glossilla, which is fun, and then J&P Coats, of course. And right here we have Star brand. But what is fun here, I want to show you. So on our nowadays, as my youngest son likes to say, and our nowadays thread, the ends were like this, and so you just pulled on the end to start pulling the thread out of the skein there. But back then, in these, see these three Glossilla ones. Let's see if we can find it. Oh, here's a piece right here. Right here, see that gold? That gold band. And then there's one here on the white, and then there's one here on the black. And so the ends would have been bound together or banded together like that, and then it would have been wrapped and wrapped and wrapped and then stuck inside, or the paper would have been wrapped around it, and that's how they would have gotten those skeins. I just find that incredibly fascinating. And then these up here were the Royal Society threads were tied. And then there was another one, I think it was the J&P Coats. The one, how those ends were bound was with a little tiny wire. So I find that very fascinating how they used to keep the ends of the threads from getting away and getting out of hand. Okay, then we'll move over to here with these. This was another way that embroidery floss came, was it had the band here for the paper, and then that was the color. Number 814 was the color. And this is J&P Coats. Sunsheen. How fun is that? And this is a rope. That's how they have it described, as a rope. And then they tied it right here, and then they tied it again down here, just keeping everything nice and neat in there. And then these are really neat. They are paper, like big pieces of paper that have been, let's see if I can show this to you. So, as you can see, that has been wrapped in thirds, and then some of them have been glued. And then like on this one from 1904, I've also got another one in there from 1896, but these you would have just pulled, and up top would have been those bands. Similar, yeah, see, like right here. So you would have had the name of the company, the color, the shape, and then what is very fun with these as well is the washing instructions. And all of them, even on the bands on these over here, all of them say to use ivory soap. Isn't that fun? And let's see, oh, where did I put that paper? For the love of Pete. Oh, hold on. Here it is, here it is, here it is, here it is. Okay. Yes, okay, so up here we have, this is called phylocell. I'm sure that is a French word and I'm butchering the pronunciation. But what Philo-cell was, the first, okay, so there are 3 descriptions. Description number 1, ferret or floss silk. Number 2, a kind of silk thread less glossy than floss and spun from coarser material. And definition number 3 is a soft silk embroidery floss. So that is the definition of Philo-cell. I think that's very cool. So this is a braided Philo-cell. And this little guy came without its packet, but see how it is actually braided. Very cool. I don't know if they did that to keep it from doing that, but obviously it did that anyway, so very sad. But also in here, watch this, this is so neat. Let's see this one right here. So here you have, and of course this end would have looked like this. It would have had this on it too, but this one's easier to open with one hand, so. So this came in there, and even this is beautiful. Look at that. There is a lot of wording going on in here. Fast dye, pure silk. Avoid boiling water. It's funny because this one says avoid boiling water, but then they're over here, these say boil fast on some of them. I'll try and find one, let's see. Some of them do, it's there, I've seen it, but for the video, we've got to keep going. So the other day I decided that I needed to get all of my, oh, I'm gonna have to put that back together, nuts. Okay, I had a bunch of embroidery thread floss in a bigger ball of mess than this. It was quite huge. And so I spent the day, I believe it was Tuesday, maybe Wednesday, painstakingly unraveling this big ball. This is what I have left. This is what I'm not even going to attempt to try because, oh my gosh, crazy. Because I purchased at the Antique World Mall, like I said, in Boise, this most magnificent thing right here. Now watch, this is so awesome. And this one is homemade. They did, one of the floss companies back in the Victorian era actually made these for sale to keep the embroidery flosses from doing that. And so what I did was I unraveled all of these flosses and ironed them, reattached their tag, and then strung them into this. I cut apart a wire hanger and looped the end and stuck it down these channels, hooked it, pulled it through, and then reattached their little bands. And there's all different kinds of threads for all the different fabric manipulation, embroidery, crewel work, white work. I don't even know what else the ladies back then did, but isn't this neat? And it's made, let me see if I can get, so that's the fabric. It's not a very tight weave, but then this is oh, it's cotton. And this is cotton as well. It is a bias tape binding. And what is so fun about this is you can see these stitches right here. These were the basting stitches so that they could then go back in and use the sewing machine. I think that's, I love it when this happens because it shows that either they didn't care or they ran out of time or whatever the reason, but they left those basting stitches in. Then, after more detective work, I noticed on the back side, can you see this right here? Okay, this was sewn on a sewing machine that did not have the reverse function on it. So our sewing machines now, and well, the one I use now and the ones that have been used for years, is you sew down to here, you stop, and you depress a lever or depress a button and it backs up, and then you go forward and you do that however many times you want, and it secures that fabric or that thread from unraveling. Well, this was made more than likely, oh, gosh, my fingernails are dirty. I'm so sorry. More than likely on a treadle machine that did not have the backup feature. And the top thread was pulled through to the bottom and then knotted to keep that from unraveling. I just find that so incredibly fascinating. Another thing that I want to show you is this book. It is a Harper's Bazaar book that I purchased some years ago at an estate sale. And I thought, why would someone stick a whole bunch of embroidery floss in this? I thought that quite peculiar until I got this. And when I got this, I thought, oh my gosh, now I know what this was. This is a cheap, already handy version of this. This is not only was it a book, a magazine, a ladies' magazine from 1906, I believe, but it is also an embroidery floss holder. So here's our date, May 1906. And of course, oops, see, look right here. Here's already a piece of the tags, the color tags. And we're gonna flip through. I'm gonna start at the back because that's how it's easy, because it just kind of falls open to the pages, like right here. Right here, this is Richardson's Wash Embroidery Silks. Isn't that just neat? And this is a pink, a pretty pink color. Awarded the grand prize and 3 gold medals in competition against the world at the Paris Exposition 1903. But this one, or 1900, sorry, 1900. I'm saying 1903 because I think that is actually the date on this particular paper right here. Then there was, oh, here, right here, look. See how the silk floss has done this to the fabric, or the paper. It's just so incredibly cool. So whatever the design this lady was working on had lots of greens and pinks and reds in it. So there's your red, or burgundy. And see, you've got the beautiful illustrations of the magazine along with, oh, look at this, along with the floss. There's another one. Wow, that's a pretty corset cover. Oh, look, embroidery. Some more green. Oh, that's a dark green. How pretty. Another green. And then this is especially cool. So these are papers, and I believe they are crochet instructions. I hope some of my crochet friends will look at that and say, yes, they are. No, you have no idea what you're talking about. Very, very, looks like they've been used quite a bit. Anyway, take a look at this. So remember, we had the Royal Society thread. Oh, nuts. There we go. Come here. There we go. Behave. I'm gonna get one of these over here real quick. Look at. Isn't that, I don't know, that to me is just so cool. It has all the different, or many of the different kinds of stitches. So I wonder if she was working on this or using these to learn, or if this was a young lady and she was learning all the stitches. So cool. Okay, we'll continue. Just more of this makeshift floss holder. Oh, aren't those beautiful? Ooh, 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 pretty. So we have got the, oh, look at this. Look at that. 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 Look I don't know, I'm gonna call them a shadow. They're not the imprint on both sides. Oh, that's a pretty silk. Ooh, hello ladies. That is a beautiful shade right there. Oh yeah, that's funny. Let's see what it does say. Shade 930.5. Perfect. And there's a little bit wrapped around, probably some of that wrapper or just a piece of paper. So anyway, this concludes the sharing of my embroidery finds and stuff that I've had for a long time and just didn't know what to do with, but now I've got this. And I think it's pretty cool. Okay guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you have a fantastic weekend. Talk to you later. Toodaloo.